Good, happy Thursday evening, November 12th, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, we begin with your coronavirus in New Hampshire key information and data. Let's take a look at that right now. There are 13,470 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 10,513,068 number of people in the United States have tested positive. 495 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 880 number of people have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 527 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. Let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where current cases of COVID-19 are. Manchester, 157. Let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where total cases of COVID-19 are. Manchester, 2565. Let's take a look at this chart here. Let's take a look at the first chart. New cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases in the orange, and hospitalization, and in the red, deaths. Let's take a look at this chart here. Current cases in the purple, total current COVID-19 cases, and in the orange, current hospitalization. Let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases in the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases, in the orange, total hospitalization, red, death, and blue, recovered. Let's take a look at this chart here. Positive PCR test rate and daily PCR test. Let's take a look at this chart here. Age group of cases, female and male of cases, and risk information. Let's take a look at this chart here. Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. Let's take a look at this chart here. Deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And let's take a look at this chart here. Your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, difficult breathing, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. New Hampshire reports more than 300 new COVID-19 cases in a single day for the first time. Daily PCR test positive rate at 2.6%, officials say. For the first time, New Hampshire officials announced more than 300 new COVID-19 diagnoses in a single day on Thursday. Officials announced 323 new infections, with 270 people testing positive via PCR test, and 53 cases confirmed through antigen testing. The daily PCR test positivity rate is at 2.6%. Dr. Benjamin Chan, the state epidemiologist, said the state's 14-day case rate is at 178 per 100,000, which is higher than it was last week. 4 new hospitalizations were reported, and 64 coronavirus patients are currently hospitalized. The deaths of 3 more people were attributed to COVID-19, bringing the state's death toll to 495. All 3 victims are associated with long-term care facility settings. Chan said the coronavirus is widespread in New Hampshire and that officials are seeing substantial community transmission in all 10 counties. New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services Commissioner Lori Shipperton announced there were 3 new outbreaks at long-term care facilities in the state. At Coos County Nashua Hospital in West Somers, Stewartstown, the New Hampshire Veterans Home in Tilton, and the Prospect Woodward Home in Keene. All counties are at phase 1 in terms of visitation to long-term care facilities, Shiverton said. Because of the rise in number of daily COVID-19 cases, the state announced Thursday that it will no longer conduct contact tracing for every single case. Instead, officials will focus on certain patients, including people under 18, people over 60, and those in congregated care settings, and healthcare workers. Child hit by car killed in Manchester, police say. Incident is not considered to be a hit-and-run, police say. A child is dead after being hit by a car in Manchester, police told WMUR. The child was hit in the area of Shetler Street and Fletchery Lane in Manchester before 3 p.m. The victim is a young child, sources told WMUR. The incident is not a hit-and-run, police said. Police have closed the area as they conduct the investigation. This is a breaking news story. Stay with us for more updates on this. Interstate youth hockey competitions across New England, New Jersey suspended until the end of 2020. Governor from New England states, New Jersey, make joint announcement Thursday. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Also just happening, 7 states, including New Hampshire, have suspended all interstate youth hockey competitions through the end of this year. That goes into effect on Saturday. New Hampshire has seen more than 13,000 total confirmed cases of COVID-19 and 492 deaths. Despite the recent increase in cases, current hospitalizations are still below the peak of 126 set back in May.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. State warns of a potential community COVID-19 exposure at 4 polling places. Those who came down with symptoms are asked to get tested, officials say. The state is warning about instance of possible community exposure to COVID-19 at 4 polling places during last week's general election. People infected with COVID-19 are known to have voted at the following places on November 3rd: South Egan High School, Pembroke Academy, Belmont High School, and Newfields Elementary School. These were all people that identified in the last couple of days of having positive COVID-19 tests and reporting being in line and not being able to 6 feet socially distance while being in line. Lori Shiverton, Commissioner of New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services, said. Governor Chris Sununu said voted in person at Newfield Elementary School on Election Day, but said the person infected with COVID-19 voted hours after he did so. Again, it's statewide concern, and I think everyone needs to just, again, if you have symptoms, if you have concerns, stay quarantined, get tested, follow the protocols that we put into place, Sununu said. Officials are asking anyone whether they voted at the above polling places or not to monitor themselves for symptoms and to get tested if symptoms arise. Low New Hampshire groundwater levels causing concern as drought continues. State's drought map unchanged from last week's report. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
Bentley Chevrolet says now is the time to explore our Chevy Cyber Sales event. Buy a new 2020 Chevy Equinox all-wheel drive SUV, just $22,884. Bentley Chevrolet, the neighborhood dealer who treats you like family.
At this small pond in Bow, it's easy to see the effects of the drought. Normally at this time of year, the water level would be up to that ridge.
The latest drought map is basically unchanged from a week ago, and officials who monitor the situation continue to be concerned.
There's a possibility that we're looking at an extended drought, or, and the 90-day forecast right now says we could be headed into drought towards the end of January.
Many rivers and streams around the state are running below normal, and groundwater levels remain a particular worry.
For example, in Concord, we've dropped in the last 30 days about a quarter of a foot. To a groundwater hydrogeologist, that's a lot.
To help those impacted in their homes by the drought, the state does have an assistance program.
We had delivered bottled water to this person who'd been on a dry well for months.
And in some cases, the state will help cover the cost of deepening the well. One thing officials are continuing to stress is the need for conservation within the home.
Check those leaking toilets, check those leaking lines. Don't run water lines to keep them from freezing in the wintertime. We need to begin to think really long term.
The drought map next week is expected to show the drought increasing. That is unless we get several inches of rain, and right now that's not in the forecast. In Bow, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for joining us for this Thursday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Have a great rest of your evening. See you back here tomorrow for another newscast. Good night and goodbye, everyone.